Live from Austin, Texas, welcome to the Multifamily AI Lab.
Monday at 1, the lab lights ignite. We break it and build it, we're learning on site. Push AI to the edge, see what it can do. From comps to micro apps, we're forging something new. We're live, we're loud, and we're ready to explore. No limits hold us back, we're chasing tomorrow. For multifamily pros, the future's at our door. Experimentation's the spark, we watch it glow. We watch it glow. Tune in, ask questions, and experiment on the fly. Real estate solutions rising high. We might crash, we might soar. That's part of the show. But every fail's a lesson helping us grow. It's multifamily AI Lab Love. Together we'll find a way to thrive. We're live, we're loud, and we're ready to explore. No limits hold us back, we're chasing tomorrow. For multifamily pros, the future's at our door. Experimentation's the spark, we watch it glow. Well, yeah, we watch it glow. We watch it glow. Together we'll find the way to thrive. Whoa. Tune in, ask questions, and experiment on the fly. Real estate solutions rising high. We might crash, we might soar. That's part of the show. But every fail's a lesson helping us grow. It's multifamily AI Lab Live. Together we'll find a way to thrive. Oh.
What is up, everybody? I am very excited today. My name is Stephen Ray. For those of you who don't know me, which will probably be a decent number of people today, just want to take a quick second to introduce myself. I'm a 20-year veteran of the multifamily industry. Spent most of my formative years with RPM Living. Spent 3.5 years with ResProp most recently, and then this past year, I started a company called Chasing Tomorrow to focus on building tools and bringing education for the multifamily industry. So, what are we doing today? Today is meant to be interactive. That's the first thing. So, I have the stream up next to me. Any of you who comment in the stream, chat, whether you're on YouTube, Twitch, or on LinkedIn, which I think we got about 8 people in on LinkedIn right now. I think one person watching on Twitch. It's meant to be interactive, so ask questions. I'm going to do my best to go slow and talk through how I think about everything and how we put these tools together, what makes them work best. So that's going to be really fun. A disclaimer: not everything we try is going to work. That's part of the fun of this. And today's really about pushing the limits and seeing what we can accomplish. So, what are we doing today? Today we're going to try and do investor quality market research, meaning things that someone who is looking to acquire a property, might be considering selling their property, or maybe even doing renovations to a property, would need to know to be able to make those decisions in a tangible way without having to use the typical sources like a CoStar or an Apartment IQ, and just use the best of what's available today with AI models. The models we're going to be using are the deep research features from Grok 3, Perplexity, OpenAI's O1 Pro deep research, and Gemini's 1.5 deep research. Um, for testing, we're going to use markets and properties that I'm familiar with. I like doing that, and it's something I recommend to any of you if you want to follow up on this in the future. Is it's great to start with things you know, so you can feel comfortable with the results you're getting back, and have more confidence going forward as you're starting to use these more broadly and use them in different applications in your companies or for your own personal use. Um, we're going to be looking at the MSA, which will be Austin, the submarket, which will be the domain, and then the property we're going to use is called the Kinsey. It's a property I love in the domain. It was built by Streetlights Residential, who I'm an admitted fanboy of their product. I don't think they've ever built anything that I didn't just absolutely love. Um, and we've got 6 prompts that we're going to use. We're going to run them all. We're going to run all 6 across each of the different models. We're going to see what results come back. As the results come back, I'd love to ask follow-up questions to the models about basically what it told us, and maybe get some actionable feedback or details on what direction we want to go as we see what sort of results return. So before we jump into things, of the 9 or 10 people who are watching, if someone could drop a comment and just let me know whether or not audio is okay. And yeah, uh, looks like it is, but yeah, if everyone can hear me fine, um, I'll just jump into things. But if there's an issue or something, please mention it. I'm trying to do a better job of actually looking at the microphone this week because last week wasn't quite as on top of things. So let me get the screen pulled up and we will get started. So as I mentioned, we're going to be using these deep search models and across all of them. And I want to talk a little bit about the prompts we're going to use. I wrote them in advance this week because a couple of these are going to be some more complex prompts than what you would typically see. So let me show our first prompts. So uh, we're going to start pretty broad and do some simple prompts and do things that would be fairly typical of what other people are going to be doing. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. I will. I just let me move over a little bit so I can face the mic a little bit better. Awesome. It's good to see you, Mike. It's been God, it's been forever since we were in instructor training for IREM all those years ago. So this is our initial prompt that we're going to use for a snapshot of the Austin MSA. This is kind of similar to a prompt that I see people write pretty often, or it's a simple question. There's a couple things I want to point out that I have in here. I'm giving us some specifics on key trends. I'm telling it what I want. And then more importantly, I'm also telling it the audience. So the audience for this report will be those seeking to invest in properties in the area. So we'll grab this and we're using deep search on all of these. So we will just start having some fun. Now, y'all may have noticed the hashtags that I have around these. Part of that, and you'll see in some of the more complex prompts that we'll use later, that helps. This is what would be considered markdown. And markdown is something that AI models are really familiar with. There's a really good example in the prompts library, which I'll share here in a few minutes, that we're putting together of other prompts that use the same method to just organize things and let the model know what it is that we're thinking. So, I guess one other quick comment on how we're going to run. We'll start this, um, and we'll start it on all of them. Research O1 Pro. Um, 5 Pro and Perplexity Deep Research. All right. So, for any of you who haven't used Deep Research, one of the cool things about these is it shows you what they're thinking and what they're looking for. So it's going to actually go and pull back a lot of great data from publicly available sources that aren't guarded behind a paywall. So when you're coming, and then it will be citing these references in the actual results that come back. Surprisingly, I did a quick test on this over the weekend. Just ran a couple of these prompts pretty fast, and a lot of brokers actually put out a lot of that was so. Quick aside, Grok 3 is so fast. It is so fast because if we come to OpenAI, oh, we got questions we got to answer. Um, let's look at. I'd like to learn about the current year broad for all of Austin. Um, all of the metrics you recommend are great. Feel free to add others that are relevant. And I'd like a deep analysis. So you'll note, like with OpenAI's model, this probably will take anywhere from a couple minutes to several minutes. I've run some of these on other topics that take like have taken 20 minutes. So they can sometimes take a while to come back. Um, Gemini is confirming our plan. Find information on key trends. Yeah, that sounds good. And one of the reasons we're running these on all of these is because we don't necessarily know which one of these is going to be better, and that's going to be part of the fun in working through this is figuring out, what is the best resource to use these. I pay for 9 AI models, including the $200 GPT Pro membership, but not everyone does, and not everyone necessarily needs to. I do because I like playing with them, and that's what entertains me and keeps me happy. Um, and brings me a lot. It's a little bit of a rabbit hole that I go down pretty often. Um, let's go back and check on and read some of this for Grok. Okay. Multifamily market is robust. That's true. Vacancy is high. That's true. We do have 30,000 units underway. All right. While these are all running, you can see this is still going. One of the things that we can note though too here is this looked at 43 web pages and pulling up these results. What are the investment implications? Short-term pressures from new supply might lower rental income, but long-term prospects are promising with expected market stabilization and rent growth. That's actually very insightful. And I like the call out of the submarkets at East Austin that are gentrifying and Class A properties being in high demand areas. That's actually very true in Austin. While Austin does have a supply bubble right now, it's going to be short lived. Despite the supply bubble, we have record absorption. So let's see what else. What else did Grok give us? Population growth dynamics, including the surrounding area. So one of the places where I've thought about this could be really helpful, also, is not just in um, research on properties that you're going to buy, but I spent a lot of time in my career working with clients and trying to find ways to give them value on a regular basis and put together quick reports to send them just to give them an update on what's happening in the market, where the markets where they're owning properties already, or the markets where I know they're looking to acquire properties. So something like this, it'd be really fast to put together high level reports over an entire market that you could share. Um, and again, like if I open this in another tab, we can see the actual market report. This is from Matthews Real Estate Investment Services that they published publicly, and was able to pull in everything. What was the date on this? We were talking about 26, 23. So that's a little old, but it is a good big picture insight. Let's see what else we have. Construction activity. Um, Found information from November 24. 15,000 delivered. That comes back to about close to that 30,000 number we saw earlier. Um, Matrix does really good market reports, so I like seeing that as a source. Um, Submarket performance, East Austin, yes. Um, Household incomes. Now, investor implication. That's a fun word. Implications. Investor implications. Short-term challenges. So big picture transaction activity is subdued with sales volume down 70% from averages. They had 24 numbers that would probably be significantly uh, reflect similar things. Long-term fundamentals are strong, and then make some recommendations on where to go. Rock likes to return tables a lot, which I'm a big fan of. Um, it helps organize things pretty well. And then we've got our conclusion and links to all the things it found and cited. Shout out to Matthews for publishing a lot of content and getting that out. So let's leave this one. Let's check on OpenAI. It's on Newmark's website, so we'll let it keep running. Let's see how Gemini did. Um, Actually, most popular destination. Population grew by 8%. We were side by siding these at some point, but I don't know about that. Mining, logging, and construction. Construction, yes, but mining and logging isn't exactly something that Austin's known for. Labor market's doing well. Oversupply, vacancy rates. Now, this is pulling a different vacancy rate. That's part of why I like having multiple sources in terms of running these. This is also looks like referencing a Matthews um, report from the fourth quarter of 24, which I don't think is one that Grok found. So it's good sometimes to cross reference these. To be honest, 15.3 feels high, um, but it's at least cited. You can go see where they found the information. Let's keep looking. Real growth down 4.6%, mostly across the top of the market. Doesn't say that, but I'm just saying that because I know that's what it was. And rent growth is expected to return to positive territory in 26. That is very accurate as this absorption happens. One thing for those of y'all who aren't super familiar with the Austin market, it takes 3.5 years to build anything from the time you acquire the land and try to get shovels in the dirt. Our permitting office is horribly broken. So it takes forever to get deals started. So what that's ultimately going to mean for Austin is that we're going to have a big lag because there's not a lot of permits being submitted right now. There's not a lot of starts happening. We're going to end up with a big lag in terms of supply, and demand doesn't seem to be slowing down. So once we do get through all this product and get everything absorbed, we're going to probably find ourselves in a very inflation or like rent inflation market where affordability is going to get back to where it was pre just after the pandemic, or maybe a little bit further afterwards. At least that's my gut feeling on it. Um, Strong economy, different types of properties throughout Austin. Now, this is cool. I wonder where it found this. Where it found the average rents. I don't have something I can pull up right now to validate that. Um, but when we looked at the sources, we'll probably be able to find it. Um, let's see. Mike, that's a good question. Um, I think is there something that would allow you to blend them together? Absolutely. What we're doing today is is really playing with these front end tools where um, we're just kind of testing and seeing what could happen. What we're probably going to do next week, or definitely in a week in the future, is build a program that could actually use the APIs for Grok or for OpenAI or Perplexity and run these in the background. And when you do that, you could you could run multiple reports if you knew you were getting different information, and then use that program to aggregate them together. And at that point, have an LLM review all of them and and highlight exceptions and things that you might want to dig into, or uh, or point out the things that where there yeah where there's might be some issues. So that was a really good question. Yes. We're going to get into the XML prompts here in a few minutes, which are a little bit more involved, and we can talk about the less simple prompts and see what those do. I'm probably going to start all 6 prompts actually, or the remaining 5 prompts after we look at this perplexity result. Current dynamics. So again, highlighting the population growth, some data on young professionals. I mean, imagine if you're even just trying to put together a report as part of a package when you're like syndicating or raising money for a deal. This could be an incredible resource to help you aggregate together a bunch of information, organize it, and get it out to people. Because I've made stuff like this before, and it takes me days to do this level of analysis and this level of research. Andrew has a great question. If we only have room for one of these platforms in our budget, um, right now I would say probably Grok 3. Although I'm somewhat partial to OpenAI's Pro model as well. Um, I would have definitely said OpenAI's Pro model a week ago, but since Grok 3 came out, it's kind of changing the game a little bit. So, great question, Andrew. All right. So let's go through the rest of these prompts, and that'll help answer Stacy's question about how to structure prompts. So, um, this was the one we started with. The next one we're going to do is very, very similar, except this is for, let me shrink this one so it's not out. This one's given a short summary of the domain submarket in Austin, Texas, focusing on its multifamily market. So we'll grab this, let's dump this in this grok. That's the other thing I love about using these tools. Is I can run a lot of things in parallel. So a lot of times I'll find something that was interesting to me in one, and I'll just pop a new window, and this one's gonna have questions, I'm sure. Oh, I ran the wrong model. Um, we'll do a new chat, deep research, one Pro, that run. Then we want to go to Gemini. Yes, close, deep research, Gemini take off, Perplexity. And I don't know if any of y'all are using Perplexity. Um, but I love Perplexity. I come to Perplexity for almost all of my online search. Um, uh, so this one is going. All right, let's take a look at our third prompt. Let me, um, Mike, you're exactly right. It's evolving incredibly fast, which is why I pay for all of them. I mean, I think my AI subscription spends about $350 a month, but I use it for quite literally everything. Uh, I'm not being hyperbolic when I say I've probably 100x to myself and what I'm able to accomplish because I got really familiar with these tools, and because I'm familiar with them, I kind of know their edges and I know what's possible. So that means I can get a lot out of them. I've gotten pretty good at prompting. We'll get into some of the more complex prompts here in a second, but let's get the last simple ones going, which is here. So this is for the Kinsey. Again, um, asking for an overview of the Kinsey multifamily property in Austin, Texas, include its location, key features, and then again, I'm specifying the audience so it knows who it's doing this for. Let's get these going, and then we'll pull up the more involved prompts. I did it again. Might be worth running one of those on 4.0 and see what happens because that's only $20 a month. Um, Grok 3's $40 a month. Like I said, OpenAI Pro's 200, Perplexity's 20, Gemini's 20. They're not super expensive tools. And let's go to Gemini. Close. Research. Okay. All right. While those are running, let's take a look at a much more involved prompt. Um, so I wrote this and what's called XML tags. That's going to help the model to better understand what it is that I'm asking it and add some additional specificity. The reason that I would use XML beyond just the fact that you can get a lot more detailed and structure things, and we'll talk about how this is structured in just a second. But if I were to say make an application like Mike was asking about earlier, where I wanted to be able to run a couple of these and aggregate them together, or maybe create a front end where I could specify different markets or different levels, these XML tags are things that with software you can insert like new things into. So you could say, the level is going to be this, and it'll change out what the level is in your prompt, and then submit the prompt automatically for you. That's something I really like with AI tools is um, not having to write the prompt every time. Just having something built to where I can fill out a form, and that form injects that information into the prompt, and then that prompt gets submitted. That's really great for people who are building production tools for their companies, or to sell to companies, because it means that you can eliminate the user having to type the perfect prompt, and you can have the perfect prompt ready. You just need to get some information from them. So let's look at how this is structured. We have the level, the city. We're giving it a goal, just like we did before. But now we're giving it a perspective, and we have a handful of key questions that we're going to ask. So, what are the key economic drivers in Austin? Highlight the industries. How has population growth affected housing demand and affordability? What are the long term prospects? And in each one of these, you'll see I'm giving it the question, and then I'm explaining a little bit about what I want from it. An analogy I really like with prompting is think about it like you have an intern who's never done this before, or a new employee. And if you give them just really simple instructions, I'm sure I don't have to tell everybody here, you really don't know what you're going to get back. Um, they're going to kind of try and figure it out. But if you give them really clear instructions, you tend and tell them exactly what you want, you tend to get much better feedback. So this has very similar questions. We ask it to identify risks, and then here we're giving instructions. So what sort of data do I want it to use? How much depth do I want? And then what sort of output format am I looking for? How long do I want it to be? And you can do a lot with these format instructions. A lot of my prompts I've given specific format instructions, whether that's for social media posts, whether that's for writing scripts for videos. I tell it I tell it what format I want to get back, and that makes a tremendous difference in terms of the quality of output and the results you get from these models. So let's have this one kick off, and it's on this one. Search. That's going to start. This is going to start. Not going to make that silly mistake again. We need Gemini number 4 and Perplexity number 4. All right. So while those are running, let's let's see. Let's take a look quickly at another prompt, just to show kind of how this how this same format can evolve and be used for this, in this case, the submarket level. So you'll notice the same structure: an analysis request as the main bracket. We're looking at the submarket this time, and the domain submarket in Austin. Um, we're giving it a role with the perspective. Um, And then this time we're talking about vacancy rates and rental trends in the domain submarket, um, asking for specific details. What's the supply pipeline? Also asking for specific details. How does the mixed use nature of the domain influence multifamily demand? Um, and then what are the key opportunities and challenges for investors in the domain submarket? Now, as much as I would like to sit here also, I'll grab this and be posting it while I'm talking. Um, Streaming is requires a surprising amount of multitasking, of reading chat and everything. Um, uh, Michael asked, "Can you build a library of these XML prompt documents and point the AI tool to the file location?" Absolutely. Um, I will. Let me just. I'll actually show that really quick. What I would do for that, and Grok doesn't have this feature yet. I'm sure they will have it. Um, Over here, I've got projects of things that I'm working on where you could actually save the prompt so that it would be submitted as a. Let me just make one really quick. Um, this is with OpenAI. Going to create this project, and I can add the prompt here in instructions. So it's going to submit the prompt every time. And in this case, I would probably make a tweak where instead of giving it this here, I would include everything else, and then I would give this information in my chat with this project. I hope that makes sense. There's a handful of other ways you could do it. Um, I also, just in terms of if y'all want to see these, we built the multifamily prompts library. It's prompts at Chasing Tomorrow. Here it's on screen, prompts.chasingtomorrow.ai. I'm going to be uploading any prompts we come up with here, and sharing kind of what's working, what's not working, what models we've tested them on. So this is going to be an evolving resource and something where if you have a prompt you like, you can submit it as well. So so we have that. Let me get back to here. I think I grabbed it, but I'm going to grab it anyway. Sure. Deep search, Rock 3. Let's do, we don't need that. We want to go here. Deep research 01 Pro. Start that. That's going to ask some questions. Let me answer those while we're here. This is actually something that OpenAI's O1 Pro model does that the other ones don't, that I actually really like. Um, let's break down both the near term and long term prospects. We'll ask about core investments. And that's also very cool that you can fine tune these as you want. Um, some don't need submarket comparisons because we're just looking at this one market, and sure, add the regulatory info as well. We'll see what it pulls back. I'm kind of curious. So that's going to get started. I have a feeling I'm going to have to go back and do that on all the OpenAI ones here, and we'll get our prompt in here. And our last prompt is going to be the property level prompt. So again, same format, level property, and we're going to be looking at the Kinsey in Austin. And now our questions are, I'm asking it to try and estimate the cap rate. I don't know if it's going to bring a realistic one back because Texas is a non-disclosure state, but we'll see what happens. What is the projected rental growth? What are the main strengths and weaknesses of the Kinsey? And let's see. That's basically it for. Oh, would you recommend buying, holding, or selling the Kinsey, and why? And then same thing. Utilize your deep research capabilities. Assume access to standard real estate databases and property listings. Let's grab this and get this started. Um, Complexity, Gemini, AI, model, Stephen. And I'm one grok short, so let's grab another grok. Set that off. Okay. Um, so let's see how we did. And we'll just go through, I think, all of these kind of one at a time now because we've got a bunch of stuff running. Um, so I tend to like to look back through what it looked at. It gives me good context on where this information is coming from. Aquila is a local owner operator and management company for commercial properties here. They actually really usually put out really good reports. Got uh, NMGREAs, uh, or NMG's Real Estate Advisors Austin second quarter 2024 report. We have the Matthews fourth quarter report, Cushman's Austin market beats. Again, when I was playing with this before, that was one of the things that really stood out to me. You can see it looked at 82 web pages here. Um, the cool thing with Grok is it also has access to X, so it'll search X as well for relevant information. It tells you kind of what it's thinking, like these search results. This is what we learned, um, and then it wasn't really happy with what it found, so it searched again and found all of these reports. Still not finding anything on the domain, so it's going to keep at it, and it eventually um, has come down through here. Let's see recent developments. So this is a great resource and tool to be able to look back and see everything that it went through, how it thought about things, and they all do this now. These deep research models, they all share what the model was thinking as it was doing this compiling this report. So we have our key points, which is kind of the executive summary. Um, Evidence leans towards increased development. Where is the domain? What are the trends? Rental rates are higher than the city average, which is accurate. That's probably the highest rents outside of the CBD and maybe East Austin. Um, Influencing factors: development, economic drivers, supply challenges. Um, Purchase Austin's second downtown. I like that it gives kind of orients you to where this is in the city. I like that it has information on the things that are available in the domain that make it interesting, um, as well as some of the major employers, which both Apple's a little far away, but not that far away. IBM. Um, let's see details on pricing again, and we're candidly, I think we're restating ourselves a little bit here, but that's kind of to be expected. This was something I was wondering if it was going to pick up. Got it from the local news channel. This is basically like domain 2 that's being built across the street from the domain. That's going to be adding a rail station as well as building a lot of office and a couple thousand more units. Um, we have our general market dynamics and investor considerations. So I wonder where it pulled this information. Apartments.com. I asked and it told me. So that's a nice comparison in terms of rents. I'm not renting a 3-bedroom anytime soon, that's for sure. And then demographics, also very beneficial. All right. And remember, this one was actually our super easy prompt, right? So I'm curious as we keep moving forward, what some of our more involved prompts actually looked like. So here, again, I don't think we need to scroll through this again necessarily, but you can see it's where it went and pulled all the rents. Um, this was, oh, that's the MSA. Where's the NC? Um, so 279 unit property in Austin, built in 2014. That's, I believe, accurate. Um, Research suggests values between 67 and 87 million. That's a pretty wide spread. um, but it gave you a number. Um, and I bet if we look through here, it would, yeah. So if expenses are 40. Okay, I actually want to look at this. Rent through the Kinsey range from 1450 to 3200. Estimating an average, assuming unit distribution of 20%, 20, 40, 30, 10. It's probably pretty close on how they build things. Calculate the total income, applied a cap rate of a 5 cap. This was a 6 cap. I don't think there's any chance this, even with today's interest rates, maybe it sells there. But that's where it got this value from. So again, super useful in that you can see, how it got to these and how it's calculating everything. Um, Location overview. Um, I'm 99% sure that's actually the right address. Rock Rose dead ends into it on Esperanza. So yeah, that's definitely the right address. I am pretty sure it's still managed by Graystar. Includes information on the features. They just renovated, so they do have a boutique hotel inspired lobby. And evidence thinks it's a strong investment. Gives you some of the reasons why. And Austin's robust job growth. So we have our comprehensive analysis of the Kinsey. So neighborhood, property details. Here's where we're getting some repetition between location overview and some of the property details here. That brings up a good thing that people ask me a lot is, well, I have to update it or tweak it, whenever I ask ChatGPT or Grok for something. And my answer is yes, you do. Despite using AI for almost everything I do to help me or be a sounding board or be some like a brainstorming partner, what it doesn't do is nothing's just ready to go right after I run it. I'm usually tweaking it, whether I'm changing the formatting, even though I have formatting instructions, and doing some things to make it work a little bit more effectively. Um, Conclusion. Actually present challenges. Its location may make a viable investment for those seeking long term. I mean, this is pretty spot on. But now let's get into handful. Man, this is going fast. I can't believe it's already 1:45. Tell you what, I want to take a 90-second ad break for our sponsor Guided. I'm gonna pop this up while I grab something, and then we'll jump right back into this. Hey everyone, I want to take a quick moment to tell you about Guided, the game-changing software we've built to transform how multifamily teams tackle training and support. With Guided, you can create interactive demos, how-to guides, and videos faster than ever before. Think polished, professional content in minutes or hours instead of days or weeks. It's powered by intuitive editing tools with some great AI enhancements that will help write the copy for you and can even create voiceovers and translate into 21 different languages. This will allow your team to master processes, save time, and boost efficiency without the tech headaches. Our playlist features enable you to aggregate these interactive demos and step-by-step guides into one place. So whether you're creating a quick start guide for new hires, implementing a new software or technology for your team, or trying to ensure continuity of knowledge for an affordable housing program at your property, these playlists are a transformative feature. Whether you're onboarding staff or showcasing your property tech, Guided has you covered. Head to www.guided.studio right now to learn more and see how it can elevate your multifamily operations. As a thank you for those of you who are attending today, if you used coupon code MultifamilyAILab, you'll get 50% off your first 3 months of your subscription. Now let's get back to the AI Lab. Thank you, everyone. All right, shameless plug out of the way. Let's get back to the fun stuff. These are XML prompts. So I'm curious how much better this is and what sort of different information it brings back. And actually, let's side by side these. So we'll do app, and we'll do app. The DAP is a technical term for those of you who aren't aware. And we want to look at the MSA. Right, yeah. All right. So 98 web pages this time versus 43. So because we gave it more structure and we told it more specifically what we're looking for, it looked at more sources. That's usually a good sign. Um, and remember, left side is going to be the XML version. The right side is going to be the standard one couple sentence version. Um, so market's robust. I think we have similar vacancy numbers um, here. We saw this construction, but you can see the difference here in the overview and kind of how it's pulling these things together. So Austin's economy is driven by tech, healthcare. Um, then we have a comprehensive analysis. So economic drivers, tech, and that was stuff I don't believe we got this time, right? We had gotten a high level breakdown of the economic drivers, but what we didn't get was like, back up. Okay. And let me actually take myself off the screen so y'all can see both of these. So this is pretty representative of the benefit of the more involved prompts. The economic drivers here is we got a lot more detailed breakdown as to why Austin's an interesting market. So events, government, education, they were kind of mentioned here, but they weren't broken down quite as much. Um, so they have population growth. I think that was here. Again, a paragraph versus a couple paragraphs where it spent some more time digging in. Long-term prospects, left side's XML. Sorry, reminding myself. And then we get into our construction pipeline, potential risk and headwinds, overbuilding. It found I don't necessarily agree with this headline, the new norm. I don't think it's the new norm. It's the temporary norm, but that's not the fault of the model. And then we get into median rents, went and found 2019's rents versus 2024's. Yes, affordability has gone through the floor and doesn't really exist in Central Texas anymore. Rent to income ratios. So we've got a lot more robust data set coming back that we didn't get before, which is why I like these more detailed and involved reports. And again, we have everything it's cited here for us. Let's do the submarket one, our easy one, fancy one. Let's get down to the key points. So vacancy rates around 15.3. That might be accurate. But we're getting again more detail and data on the okay, I'm not going to have these on. I'm sorry. Because my brain is I can't do all this stuff at once. So Mike asked, what was the difference in level of detail in the request between the left and right side? I'll pull the prompts back up. For the ones that are getting less detail, it was just a couple sentences, and that's all we asked for. So write a rundown of the market. You know, using this word "quick" might have been a mistake. It might have returned better results if I just said, write a detailed breakdown of the Austin multifamily market as opposed to quick rundown. And all these prompts are going to be in the prompt library as soon as this is over. Versus this prompt that gave it a goal, just like we did in the last one, but then gave it a perspective and then asked key questions and told it what I wanted with that question. And that extra level of detail is what I'm talking about, Mike. I hope that answers your question. So like you can see all the XML tags here. And so and for those of you who aren't familiar with XML, you basically bracket like a section and then So like key questions, and then you ask the questions, and then at the end of the questions, you do a bracket with a backslash to say that's the end of that section. So you'll see that repeated throughout, like instructions, end of instructions. The whole thing is bracketed as an analysis request. Um, just to again, these models. One of the things that's readily available for training on how these models are trained is code. So the models are really familiar with XML, Markdown. Um, you can actually even uh, do it with like fake code, and it'll actually execute the code as if it's real code. Like compare these two pictures and tell me which one's like right. And that's say too detailed. I'll actually maybe come back to that. Mike had a another question. Would you get the same result with the same ask if both sides were without XML tags? You could probably get use this information here without the XML tags and still be in good shape. Now, I'll mention is I updated and tweaked these prompts a bit. However, I didn't write these. I could have sat down. I understand enough about how this works to write everything fresh. But let me grab another grok. I'll just show you what I did. I go to my history. It's what you can see. I use this a lot. For something that just came out. Let's see. Which one am I looking for? Um, Up because I used it. Yeah, AI and multifamily market research. Okay. That's not it. Dang it. Let me. Multifamily experiment. Yeah, this is it. Okay. So, um, so I told him what we were going to be doing today, and that I wanted to make the most of this opportunity with so many people coming signing up, and it thought through the different ways that things go, gave me a lot of feedback on how to structure the prompts, and then gave some suggestions on simple prompts. But then because I know that XML is really the kind of preferred format, at least in terms of today, um, I said I want these in XML. So it thought for a while, and then I got the prompts right here, and I can just copy these and paste them over. So while I could spend an hour figuring these out on my own, um, it's in writing it and trying to think through how to structure it and everything I need. The great thing about these models is that you can use them to help you use them better. Um, and that's one of the things that I do a lot is when I need to do something, um, I I usually ask the model to help me do it, even if it's something kind of simple, because it might think of things I didn't think of. Let's we're running out of time, so Casey asked a really good question. Wonder if you can source deals currently on the market. This is hard. It's something I have experimented with separately because weirdly, most of that content is gated behind paywalls. So you could scrape broker websites. Probably if you specified the websites, like go look at investment sales at Walker Dunlop and ARA Newmark and CBRE. All that information is publicly available. I would guess that that would be a really good um, tool for that sort of thing. I'm actually making a note, Stacy, because that could be a topic for not next week. I've got something planned for next week, but maybe the week after. Um, is identifying properties for sale. And for those of you who weren't here last week, the thing that we did last week that was so useful was we were able to use OpenAI's operator to go pull rents from a property. So there's a handful of different ways that you could go about and do that. Um, but yeah, so we're good. Let's see. Let's pop down to Gemini. I didn't start the research. That's annoying. Um, Sorry about that. Um, and I bet we're gonna have questions here. Yeah. Okay. Let me get that in. I need this. Okay, here we go. Look at one of the ones from ChatGPT Pro that ran. So this was sub-market level for the domain. Um, so getting similar occupancy numbers. I'm curious where it pulled this. That pulled that from the Shiloh Apartments, cost of living in Texas. See how good a source this is. Here's not bad. It's fairly recent. Um, so again, like one of my big surprises um, is how much data is actually published by brokers that they're aggregating together from CoStar and from some of these other tools. That then, because it's now on the open web, these models can go find. Um, and Michael asked a question. I see the Copilot button at the top of your screen. Do you ever use or see value in that tool? Um, right now, I'm a one person show. Although I'm planning to hire a team starting in March. At that time, I expect to use Copilot a lot more. Copilot has a lot of really great tools for moving through Office products, like turning a Word document into a presentation. Or the other thing it has that I really like is it uses the Microsoft user permissions. So one of the concerns with these models is that someone's going to ask a question about like what's the average pay of someone in my role, and they shouldn't necessarily have access to that information. But some of the models, depending on how they're designed, still might return it because it can go find it and then it gives it back. Microsoft, their user permissions translate into Copilot. So with my company and my internal usage, it's something I'm going to get for every teammate, and it's something that where I can feel confident that the right information is not being um, the wrong information isn't being shared with people who shouldn't see it. Let's check on see how Perplexity did. This was MSA. Driven by that's true. Um, I think that's a statistic we hadn't seen. Um, at high tech employment. I mean, ultimately, I hate making the case for people to pay for a lot of these. Um, but but they all do different things really well. And a lot of times I find myself using multiple models, whatever it is I'm trying to do, just to get myself the best information back. We've got the overbuilding imbalance. Um, so similar theme. Now, something that stands out to me for the perplexity is this is a lot more concise than what we were getting from some of these other models. Here's the MSA from Google. Um, highly skilled workforce, labor market experienced a slight decrease. I have skeptical hippo eyes on that. I don't know if that actually happened. Maybe or the labor market, but not the um, overall job market. We've had a ton of jobs. Um, diverse mix of industries, healthcare, manufacturing, education, hospitality. Those are kind of some of the legs of our stool. This is the first one I've seen that's mentioned the Samsung plant in Taylor, um, or Tesla's expansion in East Austin. So that's impressive and pretty encouraging. Um, I wish I could show these side by side with what we got back before. That swing also feels a little skeptical, hippo eyes. I don't think rents went up that much on average in Austin and between November and December. That's definitely not leasing season. That's not when we've got a lot of traffic. So that might be something that I'd want to dig into. But fortunately, I could. Um, Where did that go? Again, I can see what reports it pulled all this stuff from. And then let's see. We're about out of time. So let me, as I mentioned, I'm going to share these prompts um, and put them on our website, which I'll pop that up really quick. Prompts.chasingtomorrow.ai. So these will all go up probably in the next 30 minutes. So if you want to play with these, just a couple notes. One thing that you can do is if you want to use this template, you can change the city, you can change the level, right? I'll mark these as red so y'all can see that you can change them. I might even I usually put like pro tips on how to use these with the prompts that we're uploading, but you could change the questions that are being asked. You could give a slightly different explanation or ask for more specificity. In terms of the data, if you had specific websites you wanted it to primarily reference, you could use those. You could put those there as well. Um, so there's a lot of different ways to customize these. And my advice to everyone is just use them. The more you use them, the more you're going to understand how they work. And then the better prompts and questions and inquiries you're going to make so that you get the results back that you want. I used this analogy last week, but it's one I really like about tying your shoes. When you're teaching someone or when you learn to tie your shoes, you've got rabbits that run around trees and go into holes, and it takes a lot of effort to understand how do I tie my shoes. But by the time you're an adult, I mean, by the time you're like before you're 7, 8, 9 years old, you could basically tie your shoes blindfolded. And that's what can happen as you start to use these tools in a more robust way, and you're trying to really understand the edges of what's possible. But then, as Mike mentioned earlier, um, uh, that it's changing fast, and next week there's a good chance something else will be better. I'm not advocating for everyone to spend $350 a month on AI models, but I think Grok and OpenAI's GPT Pro, just we're going to do two. I'd probably do those. Perplexity works good for search on the free version. But for $250, you're probably going to get at least a 10x, if not 50, 100x return on your money. Y'all saw the quality of the reports that these spit out. Um, uh, so this was, that's the next ML. We'll answer the questions where we've got vacancy trends, supply pipeline. This is all about doing things and finding ways to save time and to give you the data you need so that you're not having to spend all your time doing all the research. Like I've written reports like this, and as I mentioned earlier, and they take days to do it well and to do it in a way that owners and investors and getting them all the information they need, because it's not just the property, right? Like in terms of what's influencing acquisition decisions, it's going to be a lot of different pieces. So that's that's where I see the use case of these. At some point, probably in the coming weeks on here, we'll build an application where we try and which by the way, I don't know how to code, but I've made production quality applications just by being patient and working with these models and telling it what I want and why I want it. And then it will help me build those tools so that I can use those in my day-to-day job. So any last questions or anything from anybody before we wrap up? I'll wait a minute, see if anything comes in. And then we'll drop that wicked dope song that y'all heard earlier one last time. So doesn't look like we have anyone ask anything. So thank you to everyone who made it today. Any of y'all who caught it after the fact on the live replays, whether it's on LinkedIn or YouTube. Thank you for watching. Feel free to drop questions in the comments. If you have ideas for things you want us to explore in the future, next week's going to be more about marketing and building marketing strategies for properties. And coming up with some unique ideas on how to promote and get traffic to the community. And that's something we're super excited about. Um, I appreciate that, Michael. I will DM you on LinkedIn and happy to chat. I will say uh, guided, having more people take a look at guided and adopt guided to help with the software training. The thing I did the commercial for earlier um, uh, is my product and something I'm really proud of, and I think could make a really big difference. I'm a big believer that training is one of the biggest gaps in our industry. We don't teach people their jobs; we teach them to navigate software, and I think that's a big contributor to our turnover issues. So I'm happy to help. I'm also available for consulting if you want someone to come in and take a look at what you're doing, help you build some of these bespoke tools that you can use in your day-to-day jobs to make you more effective. I'm available for that as well. So appreciate everyone. Thank you, Stacy, for the nice comment. And today was fun. An hour goes so fast. I'll have to remember that for next time and maybe not have 18 prompts or 24 prompts to run. Wait, math, 6. Yeah, 24 prompts to run. Maybe keep it a little bit tighter. So appreciate everyone. Y'all have a great rest of your day, and we'll see y'all next week. That's it.
Monday at 1, the lab lights ignite. We break it and build it. We're learning on site. Push AI to the edge, see what it can do. From comms to micro apps, we're forging something new. We're live, we're loud, and we're ready to explore. No limits hold us back, we're chasing tomorrow. For multifamily pros, the future's at our door. Experimentation's the spark, we watch it glow. We watch it glow. Tune in, ask questions, and experiment on the fly. Real estate solutions rising high. We might crash, we might soar. That's part of the show. But every fail's a lesson helping us grow. It's multifamily AI lab love. Together we'll find a way to thrive. We're live, we're loud, and we're ready to explore. No limits hold us back, we're chasing tomorrow. For multifamily pros, the future's at our door. Experimentation's the spark, we watch it glow. We watch it glow. We watch it glow. Together we'll find the way to fly. Whoa. Tune in, ask questions, and experiment on the fly. Real estate solutions rising high.